You should know that you guys have 9 of the most dedicated, committed board members working on behalf of our children first and foremost, our staff, but also on behalf of this community. And it's hard work being a school board member. And I think that we have a lot of elected officials here today. It's hard work doing what you guys do, and we thank you. But I still contend that the work of a board member is the hardest work that you can do in any elected position. So I want to acknowledge them this morning. If they can please stand. Ms. Laura Balknight, Mr. Vernon Beatty, Mr. Larry Flynn, if y'all can please stand. And they hate being recognized. Mr. Rick Gray, Ms. Julie Lonan, Mr. Andy Oberg, Ms. Sharon Porter, Dr. Eddie Richardson, and Dr. Ernest White. Guys, please join me in thanking these board members for what they do. This group that you see behind me, I will tell you, they are a committed bunch of people. And when I became superintendent, the school board gave me 2 directives. 1, they said, don't mess up anything that we're doing right. And 2, we don't have time for incremental improvement. We need to move, and we need to move the needle quickly. That won't happen without a committed, talented group of people. I want to start off by thanking my leadership team, my cabinet, Dr. Terry Pruitt, who serves as my deputy, Missy Campbell serves as our chief financial officer, Dr. Wanda Andrews serves as our assistant superintendent for human resources, and Dr. Thomas White serves as our assistant superintendent. Along with this group, we have a committed group of district staff members, and our role is to support what's going on in the schools. People often refer to the district office as that ivory tower. Well, that's not who we are. We are the help. And our job is to help our principals and our teachers be successful with what they are doing. And then our principals are here this morning as well. You know, research has shown that if you're going to succeed with education, that the first group that's got to play a part is who? It's the parents. The second would be a teacher. A good, strong teacher can move the needle. And the third one is a principal. Just as I did last year, I want to give you a very brief overview about Spartanburg School District 7. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this year, but you know, in South Carolina, we're made up of 46 counties, all very different counties, all with different challenges and with different opportunities. And as you look at this map, you'll notice that there are counties that are single district school districts, such as Horry County, Charleston, Greenville, Berkeley, Williamsburg. But you'll also see that there are some counties that have several school districts that make up those counties: Lexington, York, Anderson, and that is Spartanburg also. You can see on this map, Spartanburg is comprised of some 7 school districts. We were as many as 96 back in the 50s, and then we drilled that down to 12, and we're 7 today. And you can see Spartanburg School District 7, where we sit geographically here in Spartanburg County. We're the smallest district geographically in the county. We're about 50 square miles in geography. And we are the city. We used to be called the Spartanburg City Schools. So we are very much encompassed with the city of Spartanburg. And what I can tell you about the 7 districts, they are all very unique unto themselves. The District 4 in the Woodruff area is very different from Spartanburg 4. Spartanburg 1 is very different from Spartanburg 5. And with that, we really enjoy this setup because it allows us to really focus on what the needs and the challenges are in our respective communities. All 7 wonderful school districts, and I tell people all the time when they're moving here, you can't go wrong anywhere in Spartanburg County. And our school system, this county, is held in high regard statewide, and you should be proud of that. Today, we're made up of roughly about 7,200 students, from our 3-year-olds to the age of 22 in our school district. And one of the things that I really enjoy being the superintendent here, we have a very diverse school system. We're diverse in terms of ethnicity. We're diverse in terms of where our students come from, in terms of their backgrounds. We're diverse in terms of socioeconomic status. And one of the greatest challenges, sometimes that diversity, there's some wide spectrums between that. But the beauty of this is we're in a community that really cares about every child. And it's fun doing work when you can be in that type of a community. In our district, we're about 56% African American. We're about 34% Caucasian, about 3% Hispanic, 3% Asian, and about 2% of another ethnicity. 25% of our kids in this school district are gifted and talented. We have about 14% who are special needs. And the poverty rate ranges anywhere from a school with the least amount of poverty in Spartanburg County at just under 40%, to the greatest amount, where every child in that particular school qualifies for free and reduced lunch. So we have the wonderful opportunity to address all of those challenges and opportunities here in our school district. We have about 1,200 employees in Spartanburg School District 7 today. Those 1,200 employees, about 700 of them are certified, meaning that they are teachers or nurses or teachers or counselors or media specialists and the like. On average, 70% of them have an advanced degree. And that's a very high number when you compare that to the rest of the state. They bring about 17 years of total experience when you combine that as a school district. And with our administrators, they bring an average of about 20 years of experience. And Tommy Stokes helps us with that number. But just a wonderful, wonderful group of employees here in our school district. And we have about a 93% retention rate, which means when they come here, they stay. They enjoy working in this school district. Now, we have a lot of business people here today, and I oftentimes hear people say, you know, if you guys just ran your schools like a business, everything would be okay. Well, I oftentimes say, what does that mean? Because really, guys, we aren't a business. We're not about profit margins, and you're going to see some data today and statistics, and it's really not about that. You know, that's not what we're here for. It's not about test scores. It's not about state championships. It's not about competitions that have been won. Our success at the end of the day hinges on the degree to which we're making this mission a reality for our children. And you can see behind me that last sentence of our mission statement said that it's our goal to make sure that we're producing successful, productive citizens. And underneath that, I added 3 words for you today because that's what you're going to start hearing in education now. We want to make sure that we're preparing our kids for college, careers, and citizenship. So I want you to get those 3 words in your head because you're going to start hearing that often, especially here in Spartanburg with some of the things that we're doing as a community today. Now that won't happen if we're not collaborating. So the first part of that mission is really what I want to stress. It takes us working together with our parents, and when we have parents that don't want to be involved, it takes the community to step in and serve as that surrogate. And our community, guys. And we are so fortunate in Spartanburg, and you'll see in just a moment, to have a very giving community. And many of those individuals are here this morning. Our motto, tradition, excellence, and innovation. Now, you all ought to know that by now. We preach it on a regular basis. And if you've been in Spartanburg for any length of time, you know that we have a rich and storied history in Spartanburg School District 7, a rich tradition of being first and out front in this state in many areas. Now, we don't want to rest on that history. We want to build upon that history, and that's what we're seeking to do now. Because if you're a parent, and I see many of them out here this morning, you care about tradition, but you want excellence for your child, and you want to make sure that we're innovating for your child. So many of the things that you're seeing taking part in this district right now is trying to move us into that direction so that 30 years from now, people can look back and say, wow, they're still out front, they're still leading the way. Now, last year, I shared with you guys 4 of our goals. I called them WIGs last year. These were the wildly important goals. Jim Collins' work, Good to Great, refers to them as BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. Well, we have those. And these are the 4 things that we're seeking to accomplish. Number 1, we want to be considered a model school district in the Southeast. We want to be the model. Not in South Carolina. We want people from Virginia and from North Carolina and Florida and Georgia to say, you know what, y'all take a trip to Spartanburg School District 7. That's where you need to go to see how this is working. We want to be a national model for exhibiting success in urban education. Mayor White is here. People oftentimes say, you know, urban, that's not an urban area. Well, we are. We're not as big as some of the metropolitan areas, but the same dynamics that you'll find in places like Charlotte and Columbia and Atlanta, you'll find those same dynamics here in the city. And we want to show people the way and how to be successful in those areas. And then we want to become, no, we will become one of the most innovative, choice-driven school districts in the state of South Carolina. We're already doing a number of things in our schools where our parents have choices. We're not bound by attendance lines in Spartanburg School District 7 with our parents. You can choose schools that focus on everything from international baccalaureate to IB to arts to STEM education, and we're continuing to put those things in place so our parents can have those choices. And then at the end of the day, we want to be the school district of choice. If someone's moving to Spartanburg County, all these districts are wonderful, but we want them to say, I've got to be in Spartanburg School District 7. If you're looking for a job, Whether it's teaching, driving a bus, being an administrator, we want people to say, I've got to be in Spartanburg School District 7. So our goal right now is to set the stage and put things in place where we can make that a reality. Tradition, excellence, and innovation in these 4 areas. And I'm going to touch on this briefly in just a second and give you some indicators as to how we're doing. But the arts, you just saw a snippet of that. One of the finest arts programs you'll find anywhere. Athletics, guys, our activities, and then academics. These 3 things, the first 3, really support that last one, academics. And we're going to talk about how we're performing at this point. Excellence in the arts. Where are we and what's going on in our school district at this point? Just a couple of things I want to make mention of. First of all, we have over 1,200 students who are participating in our fine arts programs here in Spartanburg School District 7. Research has shown time and time again that those students who are taking part in the arts, their academics are elevated to another level. So we make our arts program a part of our academic program. They're not they're not 2 separate items. They coexist hand in hand with one another. The picture you see there is a picture of a group of students who were in Columbia not too long ago receiving a statewide award. And this was the JFK Center National School of Distinction Award. They only give one each year in the state of South Carolina. We were so proud of Pine Street School, our arts infused school, for garnering that award this past year. Athletics, just very quickly, research has been done time and time again that shows you, if you look at the Fortune 500 CEOs, over 70% of those were athletes. They were athletes. And it's through athletics that you learn those concepts of teamwork, overcoming adversity, practice, practice, practice. So those are the same things that we're trying to instill in our students. Just a couple of things I want to mention on the athletic front. You can see many of the accomplishments from this past year. This is a picture of Hal McManus, our athletic director at Spartanburg High School, and he's being presented an award by our school board, and Julie Lana was presenting this at this particular meeting. But each year, the Spartanburg Herald-Journal, they look at the success of athletic programs in terms of victories. It's not about victories, but we like to win. Let's just be honest. And they've got a matrix in place where they rank state championships and region championships and players of the year and those sorts of things. And at the end of the day, they tally it. And then one high school is recognized with the General Excellence Award. And we're awfully proud that Spartanburg High School received that. That article said, Vikings take the throne, and our goal is to make sure that we stay on that throne with our athletic program. Over 900 student athletes participating in our athletic program. A couple of things I want to point out: 44 all-academic team members, and we have 36 scholar athletes through the South Carolina High School League. This picture behind me is a picture of Katie Funk. Katie Funk is a golfer at Spartanburg High School. She's a senior. She's going to be going to Wofford next year on a golf scholarship. But all throughout the United States, Wendy's sponsors a program called the High School Heisman. And that High School Heisman program is given to 1 female and 1 male student in each state. 1 female and 1 male student in each state. A student that has exhibited scholarship, athleticism, and citizenship. And I'm so proud to let you know that that 1 student from the state of South Carolina is a Spartanburg High School student right here in Spartanburg, and that was Miss Katie Funk. So we're awfully proud. Katie is a representative of our entire athletic program. We're awfully proud of what's going on there. And then activities. This is another area where we want to make sure we're growing our students and that they have leadership opportunities and that we're exposing them to a great big world. Here's a shot of our junior ROTC program, 175 cadets strong right now. Ensuring that we're taking our kids on field experiences, whether it's to China or to Hatcher Gardens. We want to make sure that we're exposing them to a world that oftentimes they might not see. The picture you see right here, this is a robotics team. And this is one of the things that's really catching on fire right now in our school district, robotics. And we're starting to offer robotics from the elementary schools all the way up to the high school level right now. So much so that we're hiring coaches. So you're gonna see coaches at a different stage right now moving forward. But this particular team, this was their first year ever having a robotics program. And they went down to Lexington, South Carolina and brought home 2 first-place awards. So we're awfully proud of these trailblazers here and the job that they've done with that from McCracken Middle School. So congratulations to them. The other thing I just want to mention quickly is this whole notion of giving back and community impact. I have the privilege of serving as the incoming chair for the United Way of the Piedmont. And I just want you guys to know today that as much work goes on in Spartanburg County through our foundations, and I see many of those representatives here, our kids, they get it. So you're setting a great example for them. This is a group of student council members at Spartanburg High School who ended up raising thousands of dollars to send this young man, well, little boy Campbell, to Disney World through Make-A-Wish Foundation. And one thing I will tell you about our students today, when they get a notion in their head to do something to help somebody, they are tenacious about it, and they're going to go after it. So they've done such a wonderful job. I don't have time to share all the many things that are going on, but our AmeriCorps program, just so you'll know, we logged over 17,000 hours in community service last year. And there's a way that you can turn that into dollar amount. And when we ran those numbers, over $384,000 worth of impact given back to our community. This school district, we're the 4th largest school district right now in the county, but we raise more money for the United Way than any other school district in Spartanburg County. And that has always been the case in Spartanburg School District 7. We have a 85%, excuse me, staff participation rate, and we're seeing that go up each and every year. And then that last number, that's all about the students right there. Now the United Way, those are our teachers. That $100,000 that you see in real money, that's what our students raised last year on behalf of this community here in Spartanburg. So I want to commend them for that focus. And then just speaking on the academic side in terms of excellence, just a couple of things I want to make note of. We continue to lead the way. I was at Spartanburg High School last night for their Academic Excellence Awards program, and Congressman Trey Gowdy brought forth the message for those students and did a wonderful job there. But as I sat there and I looked at those 170 students, guys, I'm going to tell you, we have, I'm not going to say we have the brightest students that you'll find anywhere. Not in South Carolina, but in the United States. And I was so amazed looking at all that's been accomplished with these students. When you see things up here like national merit and national achievement and presidential scholars, you're talking about, 1%, or I can't remember how Jeff described it last night, the 1/2 of 1% in this country with these students. So we're proud of that continued tradition. The picture you see is an 8th grader. Her name is Margaret Tebby. We were at Converse not too long ago at Twitchell for our Junior Scholars program. Junior Scholars, these are 8th grade students who have obtained high levels of achievement on the PSAT score. And then we bring them all together from each school district and we celebrate them. It's the only time we all bring all 7 districts together to do anything academically as a group, because it's that important. We've seen our number of junior scholars increase. Last year, I reported 57 to you all. This year we have 64. And then they give 4 awards out at the end of that program. For the highest verbal score, the highest math score, the highest writing score, and the highest overall score. We were so proud this year that Margaret had 3 of those awards representing Spartanburg School District 7. 92 AP Scholars, guys. We're so used to saying it, but you don't see that often. 92 AP Scholars. And then Spartanburg High School, we're so proud of what they just received with their Magna Cum Laude Award for SAT Improvement. 51 students earned a perfect score on their PASS exam. When I reported this to you guys last year, it was 37. So we saw that number increase quite a bit this past year as well. And $15.6 million in merit-based scholarships to Spartanburg High School. We want to make sure also that as we're enhancing what's going on with our athletics and our arts and our academics, we've got to make sure that our students have appropriate learning environments as well. And we've done a lot of work recently when it comes to that. I do want to say that as we look at our environments, safety is always first and foremost with what's going on in our school district. We want you to know, prior to Sandy Hook, we were being proactive with our safety teams and our regular meetings and some things that we had done in our schools. And we're just as vigilant afterwards. And we're putting things in place right now to further enhance what's going on. So I want you to know that we pay attention to this and we take it very seriously in our school district. Here's a shot of the Freshman Academy that we just dedicated. And then most recently, of course, we renovated our old 1959 gymnasium. This is a shot of what used to be the concession stand, but now it is an area that's like a student center for our kids. We can seat 150 people in there and do various things. So it's just a beautiful facility. The back wall, you can't really see it from there, but it's the skyline of the city of Spartanburg. So we try to make sure we're tying in our roots with Spartanburg with that. And here's a shot of the new gymnasium. And it's just a wonderful place to do a number of things right now. But moving on to our student achievement, the first thing I want to talk about is what's called PASS. This is the Palmetto Assessment of State Standards. It's given to students in grades 3 through 8 in reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. You can see our third grade scores, and this combines all of the students. And the percentage you see, and these are the percents that passed it, all right? A total of 26 indicators are on this chart right here. We saw gains in 13 of those this past year. We saw drops in 13 of them this past year. So with our past results this year, we were relatively flat as a school district. Now, if there's good news to be found out of that, last year we saw gains in 11 of them. But our goal every year is to see this number inching up. One of our other big goals right now is to be above the state average. And right now, we're not above the state average in all of our past results. And that's just me being candid with you. And you'll see some of our challenges in just a moment. So this is one of the areas that we continue to focus on. And one thing you'll see as I progress through these slides, the longer we have them, the better those scores get moving forward. Moving on to the high school. South Carolina is one of about 19 states that requires an exit exam before you graduate. Not all states require that. And what you can see on this chart behind me, these are the percentages of 10th graders who passed the exit exam on their first attempt. It's given in reading and it's given in mathematics. So we're proud to let you see this morning that there's been an upward trend at Spartanburg High School, and we're about 80% right now first attempt. So we're awfully proud, Jeff, of the work that y'all are doing and some of the special things you're doing with your kids in your HSAP classes to bring that up. And we're confident that when we report this next year, you're going to see that number even higher. This next slide shows you what's called the EndofCourse Exam. This is the same exam that's given across the state of South Carolina in these particular subject areas. We started doing this back in 2004, and what's shaded in gold, this is the highest that we've ever had. This is the highest passage rate that we've ever had as a school district. So we're awfully proud that last year in 2012, that was the highest mark that we had in any subject at any point. So we continue to see those end of course scores rise as well. Now you see an NA right here on physical science because we no longer give that as an end of course exam. But last year when we did, that was the highest mark we had ever had as well. So we want to make sure that we're continuing with that trend. If you combine all of those together, this is what you'll see at Spartanburg High School over the last 7 years. Just a steady upward trend right here. So doing a lot of things right on that front. And I'll tell you, the 9th graders moving to the high school made a world of difference with that score there. So about 72% right now. The ACT is a college entrance exam that is given 11th and 12th grade. And let me say this, guys, it's given for that purpose. It's given for the sole purpose of determining whether or not a child is ready for college level work. What you see here are the districts from Greenville, Spartanburg, Cherokee, and Union County, the national and the state averages in red. And really all I want you to focus on this morning is the state, national, and the school district, so you can kind of see how we stack up. So the national average was 21. We're at 20.5, and the state average is 20.2. So we're above the state average, not quite at the national average. And with some things we're doing next year, we're not going to be there next year either. Our goal next year is to test 100% of our 11th graders on the ACT. We're planning on paying for it for those students, so every last one of them can take that exam. Because what it will give us is information as to how our students are progressing in terms of being ready for college. So typically when you see 100%, you may see some dips next year with that, but we think it's important for us to have that information. Of course, the SAT, this year, those same groups, the national average was 1477, the state average was 1422. Spartanburg High School was 1477 this year. So we're awfully proud of the work that was going on. We tested 54% of our children at Spartanburg High School, so a very high percentage of our students taking the SAT. So much so, I mentioned a second ago that they were just given an award by our State Department of Education for excellence in SAT performance. Again, not for comparative sake. Now I'm going to go to a commercial right quick if it's okay with y'all, because people often get this wrong. Where do they say we are in South Carolina in education? They say we're at the bottom. Guys, there's only one indicator that they use to say that, because if you look at NAEP, AP, and other statistics, that is not the case. So yeah, when you look behind me, you see we're 49th, okay? We're 49th. but you're an intelligent bunch of people in here this morning. What do you notice about the ones who are at the top? A very low percentage of the kids are testing. So, here we have 5% in Illinois, and in South Carolina, we test what percent? 73% of our children. Now, there was a time when we said, thank God for Mississippi. Well, where's Mississippi now? Mississippi is over here at number 18, guys. So what's happening in Mississippi? They're only testing 4% of their kids. And that's good for them. But my point is this, don't buy into people with a political agenda when they say we're last when it comes to education, because we're not. I want to just quickly talk about advanced placement. Spartanburg High School continues to be the leader in advanced placement courses. We're going to give over 600 exams this year to our students. Last year, our passage rate was 83%, and that's the highest we've ever had at Spartanburg High School. So we're awfully proud of that. Our freshmen came onto the campus last year, so we started pushing AP courses down to our 9th graders. Didn't know how that was going to work out, but I talked about how bright our kids were. 31 freshmen sat down in May to take the AP Human Geography exam. 30 of them passed it. Now, that means that here are 30 freshmen who have earned college credit, not high school credit, but college credit. So we're awfully proud of what's going on there. 62 of our students sat down to take the AP US History exam. 62 of them passed it. So we continue to see great work out of our teachers and our students at Spartanburg High School to that effect. This is how we stacked up to the state and the nation. And I just want you to point out also, South Carolina leads the nation, and that's on a yearly basis with us. Graduation rate, defined as graduating from high school in 4 years with a diploma, okay? During this year, we changed the criteria, so everybody took a dip. We're glad we're on an upward trajectory right now as a school and as a district. Now, you might say, why is there a district rating and a school rating when you only have one high school? Well, we serve as the fiscal agent for a wonderful school in our school district. Cheryl Revels is here, called McCarthy Tesler School. And serving as the fiscal agent, we're responsible for everything that goes on with the test scores and with the graduation rates at McCarthy Tesler. And consequently, none of the children at McCarthy Tesler are on the diploma track, which is okay. We have another mission there with those children. So I just want to mention that. Another quick commercial I want to remind you of. I'm tired of people saying we're last with graduation rate, because that's not true. This past year, our National Governors Association finally came together and said, let's use the same criteria for graduation rates, because up until that point, only 22 states used the same criteria. We were one of those. That criteria is 4 years with a diploma, not a certificate, not a GED, not 5 years, not 4.5 years. So back in November, they published those findings from the 47 states that had reported. Where do we rank, guys? 37. Now, that's nothing to write home about, but I do want you to know your state didn't last. This is truly apples to apples right now. The national average is 76%, and we're 2 percentage points away from that. The thing you can be most proud of in South Carolina is that we're seeing the most rapid improvement when it comes to increasing the graduation rate in our state. On a final note, before I get to our challenges, I do want to say one of our goals, and one of this board's goals, is to make sure we're being good stewards over the resources that you've entrusted us with. In a time when the economy had gone south, in a time when credit was being messed up in different places, we received an upgrade from Standard & Poor's a few weeks ago, and we're awfully proud of the policies and practices that we've put in place and how we've been good stewards to receive that. So I wanted to acknowledge our board and our financial department for that. Now, let's talk about where we are and what the challenges are. And let's just have some good, candid conversation right now. One of the things that the board has really challenged us with doing is closing the achievement gap. Because as I go over these numbers in just a second, you're going to see that there's a wide gap. It's not a Spartanburg 7 problem, it's a Spartanburg County problem, it's a state problem, it's a national problem. And it's not so much a matter of race, it's more a matter of socioeconomic status. But the numbers that I'm going to be sharing with you today, this column here, these are our Caucasian students, and these are African American students. And then I'm going to talk to you about those gaps and where they are and what we're doing to address that. In reading, of course, you can see 86% passage, 54%, and you can see the gap. Here it is in math. Here it is in science, of 37 points. Here it is in social studies, and here it is in writing. Those are some huge gaps, and we've got to address those things as a community. This isn't just a school issue. This is a community issue. This is a birth. I see my friends Willie Ross and Carolyn Brooks here. This is a birth issue, so we've got to start early and often with these kids. As we move to the high school with those end-of-course exams, you can see 91% passage rate, a 63% passage rate. There's the gap. Now the good news this year is we saw that gap decrease from 34 points to 28 points, and we want to continue to see that number drop. On the exit exam, you can see reading 94 and 87. Last year that gap was 16 points. This year that gap was 7 points. On math, 90 and 73. This year the gap is 17. Last year that gap was 24 points. And then on our graduation rate, that's 73%, you can see the class of 2012, 84% of our Caucasians graduated in 4 years. And this past year, 67% of African Americans, a 17-point gap. Good news is, now we took a 2-point dip here, but we've moved from 59 to 67%, and we've seen that gap close. So we're seeing some good things there, but the gap is still awfully wide. So how do we address it right now? Well, just a couple of things. First of all, we've got to stay the course. A couple of years ago, we pretty much turned this district upside down with some massive restructuring. And we feel like that's going to pay off. We're already seeing a lot of benefits from that. That had everything to do with our freshman academy, which we think is really going to help with what's going on with our graduation rate. Our middle schools have moved to a 6-8 model. And our focus on early learning is as prominent today as it ever has been. So much so that it's good to have early childhood education, but it's not going to do you a bit of good if it's not quality. So we're going into a venture now where we're really pushing, Wanda Owens-Jackson is here for NACE accreditation at that school. So we've hired a consultant, and we're really going to start putting some things in place, not only make sure we're bringing those kids in, but it is of the highest of quality. Going back to graduation rate, you saw earlier a slide that kind of showed you what the graduation rates look like. If I were to take that 67% demographic that you saw and break it down even farther, one of the things you're going to find is that a lot of our males aren't living up to the potential, and we've got to do more to support what's going on with our male students. That's just a fact. That's not a District 7 issue, that's a statewide issue and a national issue. So this early college is focusing on single gender males. Now, if I had the resources, I'd do it across the board right now. We feel like that's going to come at a later time as well. So that's a part of our vision. But we need to address some things right now. So beginning next year, Henry Giles is here. We formed a wonderful partnership with Community College, ironically in what used to be Spartanburg High School with the downtown campus, where we'll welcome our first cohort of male students. These students will start earning college credit their freshman year. And by the time they walk across the stage at Spartanburg High School, they would have earned 40, 50 hours of transfer credit, and many of them will have earned an associate's degree. So we're doing a lot of things on the advanced placement side. Those kids are going off to college with a wealth of college credit. And how many of you parents had kids to go through the AP program? You know it saved you a lot of money. So now the goal is to get these students and get some skin in the game, and also to provide that same level of support to them and their families. I mentioned some of the challenges that we face in our schools. One of the many challenges that we face is poverty, and it's not just a school issue though, it's a community issue. I am so excited about the work that's going on the north side of Spartanburg, and I've been at the table from the beginning with that. Our Northside Development Corporation, our Cleveland Academy of Leadership, PurposeBuilt Communities in Spartanburg School District 7, we are joining forces to really show people that we can transform a community. It's no longer about pointing your finger at the schools and saying, you know, y'all need to get it right, and if y'all get it right, we'll have stronger communities. And we can't sit over here and say, you know what, if y'all get it right and fix this housing and fix these communities, we'll have better schools. It's got to happen simultaneously, and that's what this model is all about. I'm going to shut up. I've got a quick clip that will explain what our vision is.
Dan, you're right. You know, hard to believe, but Eastlake as we know it today is 10 years old. Maybe the most remarkable thing, though, about what's going on at Eastlake isn't necessarily going on at Eastlake. This is what we see here now. Amazing when you consider It seems like yesterday Eastlake was something else entirely. Not only a concept to fix the unfixable, but a solitary one. But as crime, which had been 18 times the national average, all but evaporated, and children climbed relentlessly through the new charter school's curriculum.
Our fifth graders the first year, only 5% could pass the state math test. This year, 99% of the fifth graders passed it.
As the mixed income housing helped bootstrap up those who had been down for so long, an odd thing happened at Eastlake. This solitary initiative had once transformed a neighborhood. Now, the initiative itself was transformed, from the solution to a solitary problem to a shining model for others.
It's my hope that this gets done in every city in America. And I think the more America understands this, it will happen. I mean, I don't know how anybody could come here and see the results, know what it was before, and see the results. I don't know how they could keep from going home and trying to make it happen there.
When Cousins first went on the broadcast of this tournament 3 years ago and invited representatives from any city with an Eastlake-like problem to call him for help, the response was overwhelming. More than 100 municipalities responded. So did the financier Warren Buffett and the philanthropist Julian Robertson. They wanted to help. And so, PurposeBuilt Communities was started to help foster the redevelopment of blighted neighborhoods wherever they might be. The idea was to use the holistic community revitalization model that works so stunningly here at Eastlake. So far, work in 8 different American cities is in various stages of development. The New Orleans initiative, where the president recently visited, sits on the site of a former housing project which 5 years ago was under 15 feet of water.
It is Eastlake being duplicated and, if anything, improved.
A decade ago, a seed was planted here at Eastlake. It flowered beautifully and now has given seed to new hope elsewhere as well.
Now, they made mention that 8 communities now across this nation have become a part of the PurposeBuilt Communities Network. Well, we're one of those 8 communities. So we're talking about being in a group with people from Indianapolis, from Charlotte, from Georgia, from New Orleans. And the vision that you saw come to fruition there, I will guarantee you the same thing that's going to come to fruition on the north side of Spartanburg. So we're so excited about the work that's going on there. I know you've heard a lot about the north side, but I hope that this could tell you a little bit more about what the vision was and what it was all about. Last year, as I was talking about ways to address our challenges, one of the things I talked about was technology. And I shared with you at that time our vision for technology in our school district. And I just want to recap that very quickly. And it said that we envision providing a technologically rich environment. That's at the forefront, so that our kids will have global access to educational resources and information, so that we can foster critical thinking skills and creativity through digital technology and provide a medium for collaboration and prepare our students for tomorrow's world. And that tomorrow's world, I don't think is accurate. We need to change that because, quite frankly, it's today's world. This is where we are right now. And how do we go about doing that? How do we go about making this happen? We've taken the last couple of years to put a lot of things in place in our school district. Much of that has been working to build an infrastructure so that when this technology eventually comes around, we're ready. So we're finishing up our schools now, where all of our schools have wireless access. We've worked to try to get as much bandwidth, so when you're showing a video, you don't have to worry about it not working. We've done training, and we've done all of these things. We've created active classrooms in all of our schools now, so the teachers have those tools that they need to move our students forward. But the bottom line is this: there is still a digital divide in this country. And when I say that there is a digital divide, what we're finding, you have students with a world of technology at their fingertips. And when you have a world of technology at your fingertips, you have access to all of the resources you need. I've told this story a number of times now, but I was at home with my son not too long ago. I'm an old English teacher, and my wife wasn't home, so I had to help with homework. And she's the math person. And he was working on rate of change. So I had to remember the formulas and all of those things, and I didn't remember. But what did we do? We went online. And I went online and I click a button and somebody's talking to me and showing it to me, and there I've got it figured out now. How do we go about ensuring that that tool, which I'm telling you is changing the way kids learn now, is available to everyone? How do we go about doing that? We feel like this can be the game changer, and I want to share a quick video before I share where we're going as a school district. Now, didn't you prefer that over me talking? To be honest, didn't you? Wasn't that better than me standing up here talking to you? Well, guys, that's where our kids are today. That's exactly where they are. And they go home to a world that's full of technology, and they're excited and they're engaged, and then they walk into our doors and shut it down. And it's hard for them. I have teachers right now who are dying to do more and to explore more and to take learning to another level, but we shut it down at the schoolhouse door. That video, I have to give credit to my wife, Cheryl, with my help. I told her which pictures to use, but she created that. And guys, we didn't know a thing about how to make an iMovie until a teacher at Carver showed me how to do it about 3 weeks ago, and it's so simple. So, you know, in a day, not a day, but we created that in no time. We want to make sure that we're exposing our kids and giving them the opportunity. I talked about Vikings who dared to explore. And I'm going to tell you, we're in a scary time. I was with the student council members at Spartanburg High School, and Muffet, I mentioned Martha yesterday. One of our students said, you know, it's inevitable. And I stole her line in the newspaper today. That was her line, but I used it because that's the case. It's inevitable. And let me tell you something about this school district, guys. We have always taken the lead. When it came to foreign language in the state of South Carolina, it was this district. When it came to band and orchestra in this state, it was this district. When it came to exposing kids to a world of gifted and talented education, it was this school district. And we're at a point now to where, you know what, we're getting ready to take the lead when it comes to this. So beginning in the fall, as we move forward, one of the things we're going to be proposing to our trustees is that we move into a digital world in our community. We have done the research. We have traveled to places where we have seen this work. We have seen graduation rates soar. We have seen cases where student discipline has gone down, but the biggest thing, we've seen achievement scores rise to another level. Now, where it really works, it takes the community. It takes the city coming together. It takes the housing authority coming together. It takes our after-school programs coming together, Greg. It takes all of us coming together to make sure our kids have the resources they need. So we're going to be calling on many of you in the coming days as we move into this exciting world of one-to-one is what we talk about, where every child has that tool. We're not putting the tools in computer labs anymore, and kids go home and they don't have access to it anymore. We're going to put this powerful tool in the hands of our kids, and we're so excited about that. I was walking around the football area the other day with our new coach, Chris Miller, and he's put some signs up in that area. And one of those signs has just stayed with me, and it says, when was the last time you did something for the first time? So there's such an excitement with our kids and with what's going on right now in our school district. Guys, if you want to know what the state of the district is right now, I'm going to tell you we are at a great place in Spartanburg School District 7, and our future couldn't be any more brighter, and it's because of your work. So I want to thank y'all for being here this morning, taking time out of your busy schedules, but more than anything, I want to thank you for the support that you're going to continue to give us as we move forward. Again, thank y'all for coming.